Who? The governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, running for president, and the legislature have been sent to cease and desist on their unconstitutional blocking of Americans' rights to open carry. Let's talk about this one. Before I get into it, I want to thank the sponsor of the video, and that's Lear Capital. As many of you know, I am very particular at who sponsors this show. And I want you to know that I choose Lear Capital because they are aligned with American values, and their priority is to help educate and inform people, you and I, on what's happening in not only just politics, but the economy as well, and how to protect and preserve the wealth you already have. They also have a must-read report called The Tipping Point that explains why our American financial system is broken, how the US dollar is on its way to being extinct, and the plan for countries to move out from under the US dollar with a new gold-backed currency. Will the dollar die and force us to use a digital currency? What will this mean for gold and silver? There's a lot of great insider information in this new report, and it's free. So don't wait. Do what I did and ask all the questions you could possibly think of. Write them down, learn and absorb the knowledge so that you can decide what's right for you and your family. Lear helped me purchase my gold and my silver, and they answered all of my questions. And there's no obligation to purchase, so give them a call, 1-800-260-5075, or go to leargg.com. Learn about gold-backed IRAs or 401ks, or how storage works if you don't want to take possession of your physical gold and silver like I did. Now, Lear will give Guns and Gadgets viewers $250 in their account today, and will tell you how you can qualify and receive up to $15,000 in free bonus medals. All right, guys and gals, give them a call at 1-800-260-5075, or head over to leargg.com. And thanks to Lear Capital for sponsoring this video. If you guys and gals believe that the Second Amendment means exactly what it says, then hit that like button and subscribe to Guns and Gadgets down below. Every single day I'll bring you Second Amendment news from around the country, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, from litigation to legislation and everything in between. And this kind of qualifies as everything in between because the National Association of Gun Rights have sent a cease and desist letter to Florida. Check this out. You can see it's been addressed to Governor DeSantis, Attorney General Ashley Moody, the Speaker of the House, Paul Renner, the Senate President, Kathleen Passidomo, the House Judiciary Chairman, Tommy Gregory, the Senate Judiciary Chairman, Clay Yarborough. And it says, "Dear everybody, for years, the state of Florida has unconstitutionally banned the exercise of the open carry of firearms. Florida has recently had the opportunity to correct this statutory error and bring Florida's code of laws into alignment with the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution by repealing the open carry prohibition along with the enactment of permitless concealed carry, but Florida's lawmakers failed to do so." Remember, they're always worried about the tourist dollar. "It should be emphasized that this ban on the open carry of firearms is an unconstitutional infringement on the right to keep and bear arms as protected by the Second Amendment. The Supreme Court ruled in D.C. versus Heller that the Second Amendment protects the right of law-abiding citizens to own weapons in common use by law-abiding citizens for self-defense, and in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, the court recognized that the Second Amendment also protects the right to bear arms in public. The Supreme Court also ruled in Bruin that a government wishing to infringe on rights protected by the Second Amendment, such as the right to carry firearms openly in public, must prove that its regulations are consistent with the text, history, and tradition of the Second Amendment. To be clear, this burden is on the government to prove in order for the law to withstand constitutional scrutiny. The issue of permitless carry is actively being litigated in Baird v. Bonta, an ongoing challenge to California's unlicensed open carry prohibition. A Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals panel recently reversed the district court's refusal to block this law, specifically because the district court failed to properly apply the Bruin test. In this ruling, the panel stated, quote, "An individual's right to carry a handgun for self-defense outside the home under the Second Amendment is one such constitutional right. Also, a government may regulate the manner of that carry only if it demonstrates that the regulation is identical or closely analogous to a firearm regulation broadly in effect when the Second or 14th Amendment was ratified." by denying appellant's motion to enjoin California's general open carry ban based solely on its conclusion that the public interest weighed against appellants, the district court thus employed an incorrect legal standard for the issuance of a preliminary injunction and therefore abused its discretion. As this prohibition on the open carry of firearms is categorically opposed to the text, history, and tradition of the Second Amendment, this policy must fail any legal challenge where the Supreme Court's precedent is faithfully applied. Our legal foundation, the National Foundation for Gun Rights, is currently engaged in litigation aimed at overturning federal and state gun control laws and restoring Second Amendment freedoms to the American people as the founders intended when the right to keep and bear arms was enshrined in the Bill of Rights. Should Florida be unwilling to bring its own laws into compliance with the United States Constitution, we are prepared to force the issue in the federal courts. Should any of you wish to examine the nature of the legal test you will be facing should you decide to defend Florida's unconstitutional open carry ban in court, below is a list of our ongoing lawsuits. All of these cases are actively forcing various government entities into the impossible position of attempting to defend unconstitutional gun control based on the text, history, and tradition of the Second Amendment. I would, in particular, draw your attention to the various temporary restraining orders we have obtained in several of these lawsuits simply by a strict application of the Bruin Standard, many of which have been granted by Democrat-appointed judges. While many of our lawsuits are still in the early stages, we anticipate the courts recognizing that there is no justification that can be offered to make gun control consistent with the Second Amendment. I urge you to read and consider carefully the concerns stated above and to repeal this unconstitutional ban on permitless carry forthwith. Should the Florida legislature fail to take action in the next legislative session to remove this unconstitutional infringement on Floridians' right to bear arms, the National Foundation for Gun Rights will explore all legal options to force the state of Florida to comply with the Second Amendment in the federal courts in order to protect the constitutional rights of her citizens. Now, cool letter. I don't know if Florida's legislature even cares because it took forever to get constitutional carry there, permitless carry, and the only reason that DeSantis finally signed it this time was because he was running for president and he wanted a feather in his hat. Look what I did after telling the legislature, don't get it to my desk the previous years. So let me know what you think down below about this. Do you think Florida is even going to react? Do you think that DeSantis is going to blink an eye? We'll see. Will they follow up with a lawsuit? We shall see. But what matters is what the courts say and how they interpret what Florida's doing versus what the Supreme Court said it should do. And that is the uneasy area we're in right now. We have great rulings. We just have some weak-ass judges who seem to be either afraid to do what's right or who have been well endorsed and well paid to do what's not right. Let me know what you think down below. Again, subscribe to this channel down below if you want to stay in the know, and I'm very grateful for your time. Thank you so much. Until we see each other again, have a fantastic day. Stay safe.